Today, we continue to study Genesis Hebrew study, continuation from the last year. Today's class is the fourth class in year 2026. I appreciate every student, every people, not only study with me on this class, but also listening from the YouTube channel. There is a Stauros Bible Academy YouTube channel. So let's continue to be in the way of the Christos Jesus, accompany to the Christos Jesus, and to accomplish our salvation process. Until the last class, we studied Genesis 2:14. As you see here, highlight is the word study, 6926. Which is translated as East. Word is the Kidmat. 2:14 start with the Beshem, Han Nahar, Ha Shelishi, Hittegel, Hu, Ha Holek, Kidmat, Assur. That is the first part of the Genesis 2:14. So Beshem is the and name of the river. So as you see here on the my Stauros Bible translation here. So name of river. The river is the third river. Hittegel. So Hittegel means the sharp and swift. Then the river, Haholek, the one walking. Kidmat, East. So I open the parenthesis here, East. East means goal to meet. So we start to study 6926 Kidma. Kidma is the noun feminine. And that comes from the Kadam. Kadam means the east. East means the meet face to face, usually for help. And then I put a lot of the related word. And until the last class, we were studying Isaiah chapter 43, verse 18. Whenever we study Old Testament Hebrew, New Testament Greek, or Bible verse consists of the sentence consists of the word. Then word needs to be understanding, and without understand the word, and we cannot understand the sentence either. So we had been studying about East many hours, and East Kadam meet face to face for help. In Greek, the east is the Anatole. So the place where the sun rises is called the Anatole in the Greek word. It signifies the rising of the sun or stars. And that representing the coming of Telos. Because East Anatole, when we go to the Greek word, there is a strong number, Greek word, 390, 395. So Anatole is a rising of light. And then they looking at the east. Then this is a compound word that comes from the 393, Anatelo. So Ana is up and above. And then Telo is the telos, which means the point aimed as a limit, conclusion of an act, that is a result and purpose, then means the goal, final destination. So telos meaning the end, completion. And based upon our 7 days, my salvation process, telos is the seventh day, which rises within and outside of me. In other words, Anatole, which is a telos rising, end rising, completion rising, seventh day rising. So it signifies the manifestation of Christos Jesus. Because Christos Jesus, he himself is the seventh day man, son of the God, son of the human being. So beginning to the end, it is the protos and telos. We already learned when we go to the book of Revelation chapter 1 verse 8. And then here talking about I am the Alpha and the Omega, beginning the end. The end here is the telos. So Christos Jesus, who is I, he exists from Alpha to Omega, beginning and end. And then we correct this translation anyhow, many times during our class. The one being, because this is a present verb, participle, present participle. So the one being, which means continuously, habitually, repeatedly existing and being. The one imperfect, the one exists imperfect, on my beginning. And the one coming, this is another present participle. Continuously, habitually, repeatedly coming. So, my Alpha, Omega, my beginning, end. So, Christos Jesus himself as the fourth person exists inside me, existing, coming. Not only 1a showing, when we go to the book of Revelation chapter 21:6, it is done. Actually, English say it is done, but it is the gegonen, V-I-R-A, verb indicative present perfect. It has become. Become means it came into existence, which means I am, I exist. And then Alpha, Omega, beginning, telos, arche and telos. Same as we just look at the Revelation 1:8. And I will give the fountain of the water of life freely to him who thirsts. So fountain, water of the life, is starting from my Alpha, Omega, my beginning to the end. In the last place, book of Revelation chapter 22, when we coming down verse 13, I am the Alpha, Omega, beginning, end, the telos, and first, the last. So my beginning to the end. Beginning, end, first, and last. So that is my entire salvation process. And East is my starting point by meeting the Christos Jesus, by meeting the telos, as telos arise. When we go to the 1 Peter, chapter 1, verse 9, receiving the end of your telos, end of your faith. As you look at the right side, to telos tes pistiu, the end of the faith. So what are the goal of the faith? Because telos is the goal, telos is the completion, telos is the end. There is a salvation of souls. Soul is a pushke, which is my breathing physical life. Then our faith goal of my faith is the salvation of my pushke. Then in order for me to keep my life and salvation, I have to destroy my pushke, and then I live as the pushke of Christos Jesus. It's showing not only Matthew, Mark, Luke. When we go to especially the Mark, chapter 8, verse 35, whoever desires to save his life. 1 Peter 1:9, we just look at the pushke translated as soul, but here translated as life. Look at the right side, it's a pushcat. Same thing, 5590. When we go to the dictionary, 5590, it's translated as soul, it translates as life, like here. You see soul, inner being, or life. But in my Stauros Jun Bible, I always translate as literal meaning. So I translate as breath, which means my personal breathing, which is a breathing creature, we as a human being. So here translate life, over there 1 Peter translates soul, but whoever desires to save his pushke will destroy it. But whoever destroy his pushke for my sake and the gospel will save it. So I'm not live no longer with my pushke. My pushke transformed to become the pushke of Christos Jesus because of the gospel. That is a salvation process. That's why through the salvation process, beginning and Alpha Omega, the crucifixion has to be happen. That's why I name our school's name Stauros. Stauros means Jesus crucifixion. So we are studying the East here. The Hebrew meaning is the meeting place. The Greek meaning is the completion rising. Sun rises location as the East, which is a telos, Christos Jesus, manifestation of Christos Jesus. That means the East, Anatole. That's why viewing East, West, North, and South as directional concepts, that is the three-dimensional concept. And that is also worldly concept. When we're looking at the map, which side is East? You're going to go all the way through East, right? From United States, East side is the Europe. From the Europe, East side is the Oriental place. From Oriental place, East side is it is on and keep on circling around, right? Same thing. North and South is the same kind of concept. That's why directional concept, that is a three-dimensional concept. I want to say there is a worldly concept. And physical concept, scientific concept. We should not understand in that way when we're looking at the Bible. That's why Bible has the meaning. East in the Hebrew is the meeting place. East means the Anatole, which is a telos rising in the Greek text. I always say many times Bible is a spiritual book. Therefore, even words like East, West, North, and South should be understood in the context of the meaning, derived from the analysis of the Hebrew words. That's why whenever we have a class, we are not only study about that 6926 Kidma, that means the East. Then what is the East? We go to the verb. We're looking at the masculine verb, masculine noun. We go to the preposition. We look at the feminine noun. We look at the adjective. All those word group, we research entire Bible entirely. That way we understand the meaning of East in that way. That makes me starting to make the Hebrew word dictionary and Greek word dictionary. I was showing many times Greek word dictionary I was making in that way, strong number 1, strong number 68. It is not complete yet. It's ongoing project. This mission I received from the God, from the Christos Jesus. It is my entire commitment for the rest of my life. I'm going to keep working on this. Because no one make the dictionary in this way. I never see any dictionary having this kind of word group put it together to understand the Bible clearly as the spiritual book. not only the Hebrew word, I'm almost finished actually the entire New Testament Greek word. Same thing. Any word showing up, you have to understand as the word group and analyze entire word group to understand the Bible clearly. Which is understand the Bible as the meaning, understand the Bible as the spiritually. That's why in Hebrew the east referred to as the meeting place. In Greek, the east is referred to as the telos is rising. The starting point for reaching the most holy place in the east, in the west, is the east. What I'm meaning is, we study about that one during our Greek grammar course. And then the entrance of the tabernacle, this is called the east gate. So this is the starting point, reaching the most holy place here. So east, west, north, and south. That's why this east is the point of origin. And this east is the Anatole, which is the Christos Jesus is rising, telos. At the same time, this is a meeting place. But whoever does not find this entrance, the rest of the people, they are somewhere. Even not find this one, they are going around somewhere. So we as the human being, first Adam, whoever looking for the truth of the God, whoever desire to possess the eternal life, we have to find this entrance here. Without finding this one, we are not able to meeting the Christos Jesus, who is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to Father except through him. So it is the starting point right here. The journey from the east that goes all the way to the holy place, which is the garden, and to the most place, which represents the Eden. And this is a process of my salvation process. That's why I put it in here. And I will also call this one as my salvation process, Old Testament era. This is the 4th and 5th day. And this called the 6th day. And this is the 7th day. When we understand the East in Chinese character, the word East is the compound word. Actually, to the people who doesn't familiar with the Chinese character, this is the Chinese character East. I'm going to capture this one so I can explain. The East means in the Chinese character. This is a compound word. Like I say, you see this, which means this one. This is a tree. This is tree. And then this one, this is a sun. So this is a compound word formed from the character tree and sun. That is the East means. Then what tree are we talking about? When we go to the Genesis chapter 2 that we are studying, that chapter 2, there's a two different tree, right? One is the tree of knowledge, good and evil. The other one is the tree of life. Actually, the life is the plural form. That's why I call the tree of life ministry. So two different tree existing in Genesis chapter 2. Then what is the tree that we already study? Tree is the et. Tree is et. The meaning of tree comes from the yat. That is to advise, consult, counsel. And then we study feminine noun, another verb, feminine noun, all those things. Advice, plan, prudence. And then feminine noun, counsel, plan, principle, device. And we define the meaning of tree is the producer of knowledge. Then two different trees. That means the east, tree of knowledge, good and evil, which is the advisor, the knowledge of good and evil. And there's an advisor, tree of life is the life, which is the God's life, resurrection life. Then this tree and this sun. And there is a sun that is falling down, sun, moon, star falling down. In my 6th day, when we go to the book of Revelation, chapter 6, right? And when 6th seal is open, and sun, moon, star, he opened the 6th seal, great earthquake, sun become black, moon become like a blood, and star is fell to the earth. So there is a tree that is falling down, the sun. There is a tree that is Anatole, which is above, rising. Then this tree is the obviously tree of life. Sun is the Christos Jesus, who is the Son of the God. When we go to the Old Testament Psalm, chapter 19, when we're looking at the verse 4, their line has gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them he has set a tabernacle for the sun. Sun is like a bridegroom, who is the Christos Jesus, coming out of his chamber, coming out of the tabernacle, and rejoice like a strong man. So bridegroom is a strong man to run its race. So Anatole, which means east in Greek, so bridegroom is rising in east. And then east gate is the meeting place in the Hebrew means. Then Chinese character also defined in that way. East is the tree of life, the sun, bridegroom is showing up. And when you also looking at the sun right here, the word, Shemishi, 8121, if you go there, so Shemishi is the sun. And we had been studying during the Hebrew alphabet meaning. And when we're looking at the Shemishi, which means the sun, there is the bridegroom here. That has the two shin. What is this two shin? Shin is the teeth, right? And there is the upper teeth. There is the bottom teeth. And then mem is what? Water, right? In our Hebrew grammar, shin is the teeth. And teeth is the one comes from the shanan, which means to sharpen and teach. You make the sharpen your teeth, and once it's sharpened, you are able to teach. That's why Shaman is the son is the Christos Jesus, who is the bridegroom. And those two upper and bottom teeth, you are able to eat. This is what? This is an adult man, right? which called the perfect man, right? And then when we go to the New Testament Hebrew, chapter 6, they are able to eat the what? Solid food, right? Not like the infant, they are drinking the milk. Unskilled, the word of righteousness, they will say that. But solid food is the adult man, perfect man. So water is the thought, water is the knowledge, water is the truth. That is the meaning of the Son, who is the Christos Jesus, who is giving us the water, living water, and truth of the knowledge, and then God's knowledge. He's our bridegroom. So many places showing, when we go to John chapter 4:14, John chapter 7 verse 38, Revelation 21:6, Revelation 22:17, and Revelation 22:1, talking about living water, water of life. So the east is the place where we meet the bridegroom, who is the tree of life. Tree of life. At the same time, and furthermore, the east is the entrance. Like we just look at our tabernacle, the entrance here, through which God's Spirit enters and exists. God's Spirit starts from here all the way coming out of this place. When you this one upside down, like for example, the tabernacle, it is like this, right? Entrance. You make the flip it over that way, okay? Or this way is the same, but the God's Spirit coming out this one, in and out, right? And this is what? Mouth of God. Mouth of the God. Because entrance is the mouth. Mouth is the entrance. Therefore, the east is a place where I encounter the mouth of God. And we had been studying about those four rivers from the verse 11. And then again, ehad is not force, right? We said ehad is the adjective cardinal number 1. So the river that begins in Genesis 2:11, that is the one river, but it has the four different names. But it is divided, when we go to verse 10 here, it is divided here, but this is the verb, the part verb imperfect. So the part is the one simple reflexive verb, which means river is the thought, river is the knowledge. So for river is the thought process that is divided for itself. And after passing through the fifth day, which called the Eubrades, and then Hebrew is not Eubrades, as I said during our class. And then Eubrades, Hebrew word is the perat. Perat means the goal to bear fruit. Then fruit is the first fruit, who is the Christos Jesus. He is the first fruit. Then goal to bear fruit, that is the meaning of the perat. English translate Eubrates. So after passing through the fifth day, and then Eubrates is flowing from fifth to sixth day, then Eubrates dries up. Without drying up, the fruit does not showing up, which is Christos Jesus does not showing up. Then Christ is the first fruit, and once it dried, then Christos Jesus is emerged and manifest. So in my spiritual growth process, the river represents step by step flow of the thought with those four distinct attributes. As we summarize so far, and then the fourth one is the pishon, which means the dispersive. And then that flow the one day through the second day, right? That's the pishon. And then second day and the third day, there is the kihon. Kihon is the first force. And then third and fourth day, there is a hitegel. Hitegel is the sharp and swift. Sharp and swift. So my one day, second and third day, third and fourth day, and then fourth and fifth day is the perat. English translate eubrates. There is the goal to bear fruit. That's why when eubrates is dry up, then fruit Christos Jesus is showing up. That's why by the fifth day, until the fifth day, life is still unstable to escape the rivers and waters of the world. Because those are divided, and this is the earthly knowledge, worldly knowledge. That's why those who have received the salvation are those who have crossed the Jordan River. Who crossed those rivers? Apostle Paul's letter to those who crossed the water is the book of Hebrew in New Testament Bible. Because Hebrew is the one who crossed the river, which is who crossed these waters, which is earthly knowledge, worldly knowledge. Hebrew is the Ivri. Ivri in the Hebrew word. It's showing the Genesis chapter 14, talking about the Abraham. When we go 14:13, then one who had escaped came and told Abraham the Hebrew. You see the Hebrew here? That is the pronunciation of the Hebrew is the Ivri. Let's go to the dictionary, 5680. Ivri, right? Ivri. And then the definition says Eberite, i.e. Hebrew. Because Ivri start from the Eber when we go to the Genesis chapter 10. Let's go there too. When we go Genesis chapter 10, talking about the son of Shem. Because Noah has three sons, Shem, Ham, Yabet, right? Going down to verse 21. Children were born also to Shem. Shem means name. Name means the Shem. Which is, Shem is the one who possessed the name of Jehovah. That's why the meaning is the Shem. The father of all children of Eber. Look at the Eber. Eber. From the Eber, it make the Ivri, which means the Hebrew. Let's go to the dictionary, this one too, 5677. Eber is the same as 5676. Region cross. Cross the Jordan, right? Cross the Jordan. And then Eber, this is a noun masculine, 5674. Crossover. So crossover, which is the one day through the fifth day, those river, Pishon, Gihon, Hittegel, Euphrates, and then Euphrates dry up in my sixth day, because earthly knowledge, worldly knowledge needs to dry up. And we are start to receiving the water from the Eden. The water, living water, which does not have the name, because spiritual world does not have the name. So only by coming out of the Euphrates can we understand the Bible, believe in the God's word, and live according to the word of the God. That is my sixth day when first fruit showing up in my life. That's why the Jesus, which is the Greek pronunciation, is the Jesus, existence of salvation. And we saw when he baptized under the Johannes, which is the John the Baptizer, because the law and the prophet is until the Moses, which means law is the Moses law, fourth day, and then prophet is the fifth day. So Johannes, which is the John the Baptizer, is the last person in the fifth day. And then crossover, Eber and Ibri, Hebrew, and separate from the water from the sixth day as the existence of salvation, Jesus. When we go to the Matthew, we already went there when we studied the Matthew class, chapter 3, verse 16. So start from 15. The Jesus answer said to the John the Baptizer here, permit it to be so now, for thus it is fitting for us to fulfill all righteousness. Then he allowed him. When he had been baptized, Jesus came up immediately from the water. Then we study about the from the water, which means the Greek word is the apo. Apo is a separation. If you look at the right side, apo tu shudados. So separate, cessation. When we go to the 575 in the dictionary, which means off, disconnect the relationship from the earthly water, worldly water. That's why it is a separation. It is a departure. It is a cessation, because we complete the fifth day, we are ready to start sixth day and receiving the living water, water of life. And we go to reversal direction and moving forward to sixth and seventh day. That is the separate from the water. Once it's separate from the water, Pishon, Kihon, Hittegel, Euphrates, behold, the heavens are opened, because heaven is the dual, one day through the fifth day, but sixth day, heaven, it becomes a singular heaven, so heaven is open to me, to Jesus. He saw the Spirit of the God descending like a dove, a lightning upon him. Dove is the Yonah, right? And then Jesus say, only sign I can give to you is the sign of the prophet Yonah, right? Yonah was in the big belly in the fish, 3 days, 3 nights. The son of the human being, son of the man, will be in the heart of the earth 3 days, 3 nights. That is the Yonah. Yonah means the dove. Suddenly a voice came from heaven saying, this is my beloved son, in whom I am well pleased. We become the son also. That we study from the Galatians chapter 4. When the fullness time has come, we receive the Spirit of his Son. That is the time the heavens open. That is happening in my sixth day. When we go to the Revelation chapter 16, coming down verse 12, then the sixth messenger poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates. So fifth day water dry up. The water thought and the knowledge is dry up, so that the way of the kings from the east, which means the Anatole, right? Anatole, Telos rising, might be prepared. I saw three unclean spirits, like a frog coming out of the mouth of dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, out of the mouth of false prophet, which we receive the knowledge and the thought from mouth of the beast, mouth of the dragon, mouth of the false prophet until fifth day. That is the unclean spirit that called based upon the 2 Corinthians chapter 11, another Jesus, different spirit, different gospel. And they are the spirit of demons. So, those spirit of demon, unclean spirit, does not have a power in our life anymore because Euphrates dried up. We separate from the fourth and fifth day based upon the Galatians chapter 4, bondwoman, Mountain Sinai, fourth day church, correspondent to Jerusalem. And we are receiving the water, the Jerusalem above, which is from the throne of the God, throne of the Lamb, pure river of life, throne of God, throne of the Lamb, and also 12 fruit, tree of life, those son. We receive the knowledge from the Christos Jesus instead of the unclean spirit and demon spirit. So those are the outline, and that we understood so far by studying the East, which means the meet face to face. Then once we start to receiving the water from water of life, and as we went to the Isaiah 43:18 last class, we become a new heaven and earth. Let's go there, 43:18 Isaiah. Do not remember the former things, which is east. East is we are meeting at the east, Christos Jesus. Nor consider the things of old. Behold, I will do a new things. We become a new creature. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? It will even make a road in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. The beasts of the field will honor me, the jackals and the ostrich, because I give waters in the wilderness. The water is the water of life. Rivers in the desert. The rivers is the river of life. To give drink to my people. We are the one who has been chosen by Christos Jesus. So these people I have formed for myself. They shall declare my praise. So those are the one we study until the last class. And then we study those things from the Hebrew text. So since today is the fourth class from year 2026, so I just wanted to outline that we will study so far. And then from the next class, we are going to start to study. We have two more meaning of East left in our East study, 6932, 6933. We continue to study this one from the next class.